let's take an early look at Oklahoma versus Alabama. And my goodness, at one point in the offseason, had this game circled, really was looking forward to it, really wanted it to happen, couldn't wait to get Alabama in Norman on Oklahoma soil for the first time since the early aughts, when, yes, we were able to hand them that L. But since the arrival of Nick Saban, it ain't been going Oklahoma's way. It's been going a lot of Alabama's way. And that feels a great way to set this one up, because while Alabama has suffered 2 losses before the month of November for the first time since 2007, they also control their own destiny. If they beat Oklahoma and they beat Auburn, they can play in the SEC championship game, and it's as if it's always been. Jalen Milroe, who is the only starting quarterback to win an SEC championship and make the college football playoff, is basically 2 games away from defending the SEC championship and more or less 2 wins away from absolutely positively sealing themselves in to the college football playoff for the second year in a row. 2 different head coaches, 2 different play callers, 2 different schemes. I realize that Jalen Milroe has been up and down, but when he is up, he's beating Georgia. When he is up, he is taking LSU to the woodshed. When he is down, he's throwing the football to other people and losing football games like he did against Vanderbilt, like he did against Tennessee. That is where Oklahoma can hope for a little bit of hope. Well, that's where I would put my hopes and dreams, if I had any left, about how Oklahoma could upset Alabama. But with Ryan Reynolds on the outside, Jahad Campbell, who's top 5 in the SEC in tackles, and Ryan Williams, who's one of the best wide receivers in the sport, let alone the SEC, with Justice Haynes back there and Jam Miller back there, Caden Prock that out offensive line, and then Milroe being able to basically do what Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts used to do to everybody else at Oklahoma, it ain't looking real good for the home team. It's just not. To say nothing to Malachi Moore on the back end, and yikes, dog. Damani Jackson, yikes, dog. And I say yikes, dog, because Oklahoma it's not a good football team. It's really not. Oklahoma's 5-5, but it's 1-5 in SEC play. And the offense is embarrassing. Oklahoma ranks 117th in total offense in the country. Okay? Oklahoma is averaging 326.8 yards per game. For perspective, there are 2 quarterbacks at Texas Christian and at North Texas in John Hoover and former Oklahoma quarterback Chandler Morris, who have thrown for more yards this season than Oklahoma has amassed running and passing. There's been some conversation about Michael Hawkins Jr. retaking the Jackson Arnold spot, but fact of the matter is Jackson Arnold ain't throwing that many interceptions. He's just putting the ball on the floor. You got Missouri on the ropes. You got Missouri right where you want him. All he had to do was hold on to the football. That's it. Hold on to the football. Don't fumble the football away. Let the kicker come in, nail the kick, get a top 25 win against a hated Missouri team, and then put the ball on the floor. Fire the offensive coordinator. Funny, it's almost like that didn't help. Because the other thing that you got to take into account here, and this might be the offensive coordinator, hell, I tend to think that it is the attrition at players and the injuries we had, and which Jerry Schmidt been doing. Oklahoma's averaging 25.1 points per game. This is a program that has gotten used to averaging 40 plus. For perspective there, only LSU, Florida, and Mississippi State are allowing people to score more than Oklahoma, and there is one team that has scored fewer points than Oklahoma this year, and it's just Kentucky. They're averaging 21.9. The leading receiver at Oklahoma is not Deion Burks. It's not Andrew Anthony. It's not Nick Anderson. It's Bauer friggin' Sharp. And that's not I'm not trying to throw shade at Bauer Sharp, but the tight end got 39 catches for 299 yards with 2 TDs. Those are tight end numbers. That ain't supposed to be leading nobody's passing offense. So Deion Burks, who has been AWOL, MIAGONE, still leads the team in receiving touchdowns with 3. Got the dreaded vote of confidence from the president of the university Because some of y'all out in these streets asking for Brent Venables to get fired. And I'm like, for what? And they're like, go get Shane Beamer. I like Shane Beamer. We got the dude that we need. We got the dude that we asked for. We got the dude that we wanted. Now we stuck. That's what this is. That's what it means to get family. You got family, you stuck with family. Make it work. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't like my evil plan of Oklahoma getting Lincoln Riley back with the band, having Brent Venables coach the team, call the defense with Zach Allen, and letting Lincoln call the plays. Y'all didn't like none of that. All right, fine. Now what? Joe Craddock? Phil Longo? Brennan Marion? Make me understand. You know what I'm saying? Shannon Dawson interested. Why? What makes you think such a thing? Look at what Miami's doing right now. Look at what he's doing with Miami. Cam Ward going to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Well, y'all already making jokes. You should be making jokes. Do you realize that while you making jokes about Jackson Arnold going to Tarleton State, that's where Mikey is, man. Mikey Henderson at Tarleton State playing wide receiver. Trajan Bridges is at Central Arkansas playing wide receiver. Seth McGowan is at New Mexico State playing running back. Remember them? Remember why they had to leave the team? Stop making the jokes, dog, because these things become realities, and we don't like it not damn one bit. You know what Oklahoma could do with right now? Some receivers and some running backs. You know what I'm saying? Be nice to have old Trajan running through the scene. Have Mikey Henderson running the ball, let alone playing wide receiver. Seth McGowan, because, look, until Javonte Barnes had his 200-yard rush performance against almighty Maine, didn't really have much to speak of a run game. Now, he is barely Oklahoma's leading rusher and didn't have him available against Missouri. Because that's just what it is. That's just who we've been. This while Oklahoma is not just 5-5 and 1-5 in SEC play. Had to go look this up, man. Oklahoma is a 13.5-point dog to Alabama at home. Do you know the last time that Oklahoma was a 14-point dog at home? 1997. Texas A&M. John friggin' Blake era. That is where we have fallen. Oklahoma is looking like it might not make a bowl game for the first time in 25 years. 25. Got to get a win against Oklahoma. Got to get a win against Alabama. Got to get a win against LSU. It's looking more like the win against LSU is doable. And you know what? Danny Stutzman's, once again, awesome season. He's got 96 tackles, right? He's one of the best tacklers in all of football this year, especially at the FBS level. He's gone for nothing. Billy Bowman got 2 interceptions. It ain't been feeling good, man. It's not a good feeling right now at Oklahoma because this is something that we have not experienced. There's a whole generation of children that have never felt this. Like, I'm just old enough to have lived through the 90s. So, like, Nebraska being favored against Oklahoma, that's my John Wick. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way we gonna die. That dude shows up. Everybody got to go. That's how Nebraska was in the 90s. And then Oklahoma became sort of kind of that team and then became that team, right? And then became that team that just couldn't win another national championship. Now, Alabama is going to do what we thought Oklahoma could do, which is go from one guy to the next guy and win a championship. It feels a lot like Alabama has taken the Monstar energy that was 2019, 2018 Oklahoma and infused it into themselves. I say that because the defense at Alabama ain't been that great, but the offense has been that great. Now, we know as Oklahoma fans that you can only expect that offense to carry you so far before somebody with a for real defense shows up and suns you. That said, Alabama's defense is just giving up 16.9 points per game, and that's giving up 40, to teams like Vanderbilt, Georgia. They can still put it on you anytime they want. That's the problem is they get explosive. It gets away from you in a hurry. Turns out South Carolina's a better football team than people thought. Turns out Arkansas, better football team than people thought. Do you realize that it was a couple of weeks ago that I get to say that Auburn is a worse football team than Oklahoma? And by record, yeah, all right, cool. But if you look at recent play, Mississippi State's played better football. Florida's played better football. Auburn's played better football. Kentucky might be down there with us, but they got a really great win against Murray State, almighty Murray State. I'm saying that if you are looking for hope to come out of this, it's going to have to be found money. It's going to have to be somebody somewhere has made themselves known in a way that we haven't. Hopefully it's Jackson Arnold, who I'm still waiting on to throw for 300 yards for the first time since, 2023. I would love to see an outstanding performance by friggin' wideout that is, heretofore unnamed. There's a reason why Alabama's in this position and Oklahoma is not. And Brent Venables' job is to figure out why.